All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Mental Theater News. We have a full squad today. What up, Avengers?
What's going on?
Anything new out there in the Marvelverse?
Any what?
Anything new out there in your universe?
I do my basketball show later on today, which is exciting.
Nice.
For the first time. Right. Yeah, Half Court Trap podcast, which will be out sometime this week. So I'm very excited about that. Whatnot.
And Friday, was it Friday? Yeah, Friday I did a recent episode of So Let's Talk. So that was pretty cool. Had some marketing stuff on there. So that was pretty cool.
Very cool as well. And Big Mike, I think your show is going to be on the BigMike Little Ant channel.
Big Mike and Little Ant channel, yeah, to add to our channel, which will be exciting. So
yeah, we're adding some more content on there. I'm working on a gaming show, Josh. So kind of like Mike is doing his separate thing. So I'm doing my separate thing, trying to get the pieces in place right now. So that's kind of cool, exciting.
I heard we'll dive into gaming a little bit later, but unfortunately, we must start with the sobering reality of the pandemic and the fact that theaters realistically will be closed until mid-2021, which is essentially now, a year from now.
That's crazy.
I guess I'll start. I mean, I even with me, I didn't expect it to be closed that long. I do see even movies like Bill and Ted, the new Bill and Ted movie, already going to come out on VOD, and that was supposed to come out in the movies. So that's interesting. But I think smaller movies, it's a good and bad thing. I think some of the smaller budget movies you'll see continue to come out on VOD. But it's kind of a loss for me because if I got to pay $20 for one movie when I could have paid $20 for a pass to watch several movies, I'm actually losing on the VOD. So it's so I'm not as happy about that, but it is what it is, I guess.
Now here's the cool thing though, Mike. So there's always a flip side. So yeah, the Bill and Ted is coming out in September, but here's the thing. You might be losing $20, but my whole family, if I only paid $20, I done saved money because I could have took my kids, my wife, me, and now I'm saving money on that $20. So
yeah, it goes both ways. You're right.
Yeah,
it is definitely a hard thing. But I do see smaller budget movies just getting what they can get, rather than wait. But a lot of stuff has been pushed back already. Some already for a year and whatnot. So it's crazy.
And I think Bill and Ted is going to be a good test for that because a lot of older people are probably going to go see that, and they would have also took their kids. So I think Bill and Ted is going to be a good test. That's a movie that could have made some decent money. Not like the top movie, but it could have made some decent money. So let's see what that does on VOD.
Were you a fan of Bill and Ted?
I was.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see that.
Makes sense. Yeah.
By the way, we got to shout out John Campy here because he's alluding to that a year from now, none of the movie theater chains will be in business. And this is worldwide. So from AMC to Regal, they will not be able to handle this drought.
So look, one day we could look back. If we was to look back and say how important digital is today, and we look back and see back then, right? So let's just think about the malls. You will always go to FYE to buy CDs, right? To play music. And DVDs, right? So if you look now, so much stuff is digital. So you ask yourself, well, why did that happen? Normally it's just technology got better. But we could be saying in 2 years that the pandemic happened and got rid of movie theaters, That could be a thing,
But the question is that if it gets rid of the theaters, how much will it affect the quality of movies that we get? Because they can't spend as much money if they can't recoup as much money. So that's really the problem, or question, I guess. Not really problem yet, but question.
Yeah, that's the big problem because streaming, unfortunately, isn't the answer monetarily.
Right.
I don't know. It's like Jurassic Park. Life finds a way. It's just like, listen, I mean, that's what happens. You got to be resilient. Like like it's like look at Like whenever we look at back in the day and how money is being made now, it's like you gotta go with the time. So I mean, if it is what it is, you know, the ship got to keep moving.
I hear you, but it seems like these people are going to keep pushing back until they get in the theater, whether it's 2 years, 5 years. Like, some of these people are like, I'm not putting it out if I'm going to theater, bro.
Yeah. Well, here's what two things could happen. One, the theaters, like Josh said, if they go out of business, then you can't put it in theater, right? Because there is no
Right.
theaters besides a little small theater like the one I went to in
Right.
Delaware. And then two, you'll just have to say, you know what? Maybe the world is gonna just conform to COVID. Maybe wearing a mask will be the norm. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they'll get used to, okay, we can't have full capacity theaters, right? Because like we know, every theater you pretty much buy your seat, right? So now when you go buy your seat, it'll be sections. Like instead of like, oh, wherever you want to sit at? No, you got to sit in like a section that's away from another section, you know. And then they just have to realize, okay, we can still do it in the theater, but we're going to take a loss because we can't fit. Well, they might not even take a loss, even though you can't fit as many people in. Then they could just have more. Maybe
More
less
shows.
movies will be made, but they have more showings. Yeah. So
yeah. Well, I just,
well, guys, I've come to the sad realization: just like movie theaters will be closing, so will the mall. So, like,
wait. You just said you went to the mall.
No, I did, and because eventually they're gonna close. I think the same time the movie theaters are gonna close indefinitely will be the same time the malls close indefinitely because they're not making enough money to make rent.
yeah, she got a good point.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So like, you better enjoy it now. I mean, better go to those small cinemas.
Well, John Campy had a interesting solution. So just looking at reality, right? And we talked about this on Food for the Culture. So shout out to Food for the Culture, which Tony will be a guest this Wednesday. Hopefully Mike's brother Eric will be again as well. On Food for the Culture, we talked about the mismanagement of the pandemic in our country specifically. And now I think there's only 2 nations in the world where Americans can actually go legally, right? So there's a possibility, because other countries handled it properly, the movies would just be released internationally before America in theaters, and they'll be able to actually go to the theaters because they did it properly.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm sure with the countries not letting us in, that sucks for you, for people like you, Josh, who like to travel internationally a little bit. But yeah, like Japan is like running like normal right now, basically, and a bunch of other countries. So I can see that. But as they also alluded to, if that happens, you'll have mass piracy. So it'll be crazy to see, you know, people will, especially stuff they really want to see, you know, the bigger movies of the world, like, you know, they'll be able to put that out to us. So they may have to put it out to the other theaters, other countries to get that money. And to Tony's point, have it streaming here and get whatever money you can get all together.
And then imagine this, right? Let's say it comes out in the theater in the other countries. This might suck for us, but it comes out there maybe a week or 2 first, and then it's streamed on VOD. So that way, if people want to pirate it, it's like, well, they made so much money. Like, it won't stop people from going to the theaters who could go to the theaters in other countries. You know, to be fair.
And what's interesting, it actually might have to go back in time to a type of theater structure similar to how adult films were, right? So you can have a smaller theater with only like 1, 2, or 3, 4 chairs and a massive screen, and then just have a lot of those pods next to each other.
Here, forget that. Remember when IMAX first came out? So when IMAX first came out, remember, there was only 3. It was like 1 in California, 1 in New York, 1 in Atlantic City. And I actually went to the one in Atlantic City, and it was like the coolest thing. It was like stadium seating, and like you had so much space away from somebody. So I remember talking it up so big that I had a bunch of friends go with me all the way to Atlantic City. And this was some time later. And when we went there, they changed it. They realized we can make more money by making it look like that, by putting seat to seat to seat. But there was a time where you had so much space, you know, that's the way it was. And it was so high up, it was like I said, it was like a kind of like not even like stage, it was like balcony kind of. It was like I could look down and see the person like in front of me. It was like weird. It was so much space. It was kind of cool. So they could go back to stuff like that, to be honest with you, to give you all this space.
I think though, at the end of the day, what Chloe's right is that it's like any other business. Like you can't go a year with no income coming in and expect to, remain open and whatnot. Especially if you're AMC, who's already $5 million in debt.
Right.
So it's like you owe on top of O on top of O. Like it's so hard to ever, recoup that and whatnot. So I think that's what Chloe's trying to say.
Yeah. I guess I just can't see a world without the movies, but then again, I'll probably never picture not having a VHS tape either, right? So you got to think, like even me, I'm wearing, like, I like tech. I'm wearing this thing around my neck. People are like, what? But I, like yesterday when we went to the lake, somebody came up, like people walked over, was like, what is that? Is that a phone? I was like, oh yeah, it's a folding phone. I took it out my little thing. It was like, what? And I was sitting there with a PlayStation controller, this one, and I'm playing Google Stadia they're looking at me like, wait, you're playing video games, but what are you playing? I'm like, I'm playing on Google. Like, Google what? And I got a PlayStation controller. So like, it is what it is. Like, yeah, we love the theaters and we grew up going to movies, but there might, like Chloe said, there might just be a time where there is no theater and we'll just have to, it'll just be new.
I think what could happen is too, you'll see the TVs upgrade, the sound systems in the houses upgrade and be cheaper. Just like with the malls, right? People online shop so much anyway. If the malls go away, I don't think it'll have a big effect as people think it'll be, stuff like that. So
yeah.
I mean, if they survive the whole money aspect, right? So maybe they'll just close down for a couple of years and then they'll get like a bailout or something. Because when the vaccine comes out, I'm sure that they're going to open up like gathering places again.
Right.
So we'll see.
Well, I guess the good thing is if another country is able to do it, even though America likes money so much, so I feel like it's harder for us to shut stuff down because let's face it, we got Hollywood. We just like money, but if another country could do it, we can eventually do it. So that's the good thing. Now, my question for you guys real quick is you said Japan's running back to normal. So does Japan has 0 cases? Like,
I don't want to say nothing wrong. I don't know that, but I know that they adopted wearing masks for everyone from the very, very beginning, like the whole country. And that's what the real issue is. Like, now I don't want to get into political, but they always ran as one.
right.
Where we were like state to state to state. You can open. You have no mask. You do. You know what I mean? So
right.
I think that's what the different issue is. Stuff like that.
This would be cool if it was mobile. Like if this was inside of like a truck or something, like a trailer, and you could just rent it.
Definitely. I just think that, to everyone's point, similar to the fact that back in the day, everyone had VHS. No one ever conceptualized the DVD, Blu-ray player, or streaming itself. I think there'll be a mass investment on the consumer's part to have your own theater. And I think these companies who create, amazing, luxurious theaters with a couple seats, that's kind of how you'll be able to see movies. And perhaps the theater industry and the studios, they'll be able to have a temporary license similar to getting a movie on YouTube. You can rent it for 24 hours type of thing, and then you can watch it in your home studio, and then that's that.
Now, let me jump in here, getting a little bit futuristic here. Now, I'm going to tap on to what Chloe said. So she said, what if that was in a truck? Can you imagine if there was a huge, long truck, right? Not that you get in the truck, but call it a rolling drive-in theater, right? So the truck pulls up somewhere, right? Cornfields, whatever, just somewhere far out again, so nobody's driving on the highway, you can see it. And then it opens up, and then a thing goes up in the air, right? So as long as the truck is, it just goes all the way up in the air, and then people just pull up in their cars and be in spots. So like maybe it might take them, 2 hours to set up, right? Oh, we're gonna put up pins right here. People pull in, and the truck pulls up right in the front. The truck thing opens up, things go all the way up in the air, and then you pull in, park your car, and then that truck could keep going city to city, or have a bunch of those trucks going all over. And so you don't have to worry about employees always being hired as one spot. That truck could have employees on the truck that goes from city to city all over, and have rolling drive-in theaters.
I think that'd be dope. But I think eventually, if we have to go, more and more of those routes, it will be, in like neighborhoods, not even just cornfields, and like maybe like coming to your neighborhood next week, the truck or whatever, you can buy tickets or whatever it is, stuff like that. So I could see that. But to Josh's point, I see more home theaters becoming better cost effective for people. And things like that, if they got to put the movies on only home theaters only and stuff like that. So
what if
something like that right there, I would be fine. I would feel like I'm in the movies.
Like what if like mortgages or companies, or I don't know, maybe AMC changes a little bit and they start doing like they give you like a some type of like you get a contract with them, and they are affiliated with contractors to build like a home theater on part of your house. So like AMC or Regal or whatever is making money off of this construction on your home. That's going to have the movies they play, and it's like a package deal. So maybe it takes 2 months for them to build this structure to your home, and it costs, I don't know, 10 grand, but it'll be all their movies will be included for like 3 years or something. I don't know.
I can see it. I don't even think it'll be that. I think they'll just mortgage you on it. I think America loves people in debt, and they'll just. I'm just saying.
Real.
I think that people will be able to mortgage kind of these type of things for like you said, $10K and pay $200 a month for 4 or 5 years, and that'll be it and whatnot. So.
Could you imagine the movie theater repo, man? That would be a travesty.
Oh yeah. We're taking your screen. Give me that chair. And we want the popcorn that you got for a year.
Yeah, that would be. Imagine your neighbors watching it. They'd be like,
like, we still got ours. And then it'll get crazy. Oh, well, we got the IMAX theater in ours. Y'all only got a standard definition.
But think about it. That's everything. That's how it'll be. There'll be more money for people getting better theaters at their home, and people, having higher bills to pay on those things or whatever like that.
Yeah, you're right.
And that'll be another liability that people will tack on to other things, especially if they can't already watch, movies.
Yeah, instead of buying a pool, you'll be buying a theater.
Yeah.
That's true. And to your question before, these are the stats as they are now in Japan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So under 1,000 deaths as of right now.
But they still have it.
I mean, they're a lot closer in proximity than we are.
Yeah, with 128 million people, they have 30,000 cases. That's crazy.
Well, I mean, this is a time we could shout out New Jersey, for doing really good.
Yeah.
So that's cool. They said we're the #1 state in the United States that in like the last 2 weeks our numbers haven't went above a certain number, something like that.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure Chloé knows. Why do you think she had the mall and the nail salon?
Right?
Okay.
So speaking of streaming services, I guess it'd be a great time to talk about the debacle that is HBO Max.
I don't know. You guys were talking real high about it a couple weeks ago.
Well, again, I think their rollout, the way they executed that was amateur. However, they do better than what Disney is trying to do. So that's why I think long term it'll be better. But as of right now, they literally sold away all their most valuable IP, so they're not even on the platform anymore, which was really stupid. However, they have so much content that they could easily, and new content as well, and because that's already their business model. So I just think they need to, I guess, change leadership over there.
I think all these companies recently, even Disney Plus, I'm gonna say, I think it's like a rush job and stuff like that. And I think they've been like rolling out without enough content. Disney Plus, if it wasn't for Mandalorian, let's be honest, what would their numbers have been?
Yep.
You know, and Star Wars is a worldwide phenomenon. So, you know, they got a lot of subscriptions based off that. But that's all they rolled out. Like Tony said, they don't have enough new content for me.
Yeah.
So
I literally held off because, like, I'm obviously gonna get it, but why get it now? Like, that just makes no sense for me, you know? You know, I wouldn't, you know.
Even me, I probably would have got it and got rid of it because, you know, I want to watch Mandalorian. You know what I mean? If I didn't get it for free, but beyond that, I would have got it and got rid of it already by now. So and then HBO Max, same thing. Like, I don't know why these places are rolling out without a bunch of new content already for people to get their teeth wet.
I think I can answer that. So it has nothing to do with this, but the parallel. So when Google was coming out with Stadia, they talked about it, right? So people knew it was this thing coming. And then Microsoft announced that they was coming out with Project xCloud. Google decided, whoa, let's put our thing out now. And it wasn't really ready because they wanted people, because people are going to choose, right? So we're already talking about HBO Max and we're talking about Disney Plus. So it's like, who else is coming next, right? So it's like, dude, you better throw it out now and get people, because if you don't, somebody else's service come out first. It could be a little bit better or worse, but it's kind of like whoever comes out first are gonna by default get subscribers. And those, like, for instance, Mike, what happened was you guys was telling me about HBO Max, and I was like, man, I don't know. You was like, what, dude? It's only, you was trying to tell me like it's not gonna be that much money. Think about it. It's the price of this and that. But I'm like, already pay for a bunch of other things. So you gotta think about it. If they had something I really like, but another company came out first and I decided to go with the other company because I didn't want to wait, then I might be like, I already paid for too many things. I don't want HBO Max, or I don't want this. So these companies are rushing because they want to get your subscription. They're trying and hoping that you join them. And then when the next thing come out, you might say, well, I'm not going to join them. So that's why they're rushing, you know?
Yeah. But the good thing is that, like me, I play the game based on what's on. So, like, I don't just keep a subscription. If it's something good on there, I'll watch that. Like I said, with Disney Plus, I would have got it, watched Mandalorian, and got rid of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm okay with that. You know, like I got HBO now, but I'm about to get rid of that and go back to Stars when Power starts, and then go back and forth. Like, that's the game I play with.
Best thing happened to the subscription industry was when cell phones had the month-to-month no contracts or month-to-month contracts. Best thing happened, because remember, in the past, you subscribed to something, you was tied to 6 months or a year. But then cell phones got to the whole, you don't know contract, you could join and leave whenever you want, and all these other companies adopted that. Best thing to happen.
Best thing to happen, especially with TV shows, because it's like, if you got a great show, I may, want to watch it, for that time period. And then I got a whole formula behind it. Like, I won't even subscribe until they're at the end of their season, and then I'll binge watch for just that month, and then I'm out. So I'm only paying for the month.
No, I mean, listen, I did the same. I didn't do what you did, but I subscribed when True Blood was out, and to HBO, got rid of it. When Game of Thrones came out, HBO got rid of it. Like, it's a given,
Yeah. So, but as far as the rollouts are concerned, it's the other one with NBC.
The Peacock Network,
yeah, which is just a dumb name, but the Peacock Network, which is again, they don't have enough new content or whatever. And with HBO, I think it's confusing because they have HBO Now, HBO Plus, all these other HBOs. I think it's like super confusing. So I just think that
I'm definitely surprised with that as well, because HBO had this out 2 or 3 years ago, so they were already there before anyone else. So I'm really surprised why they're struggling now.
Yeah, it's definitely the future. Don't get me wrong, especially with the pandemic and not having actual movies to go to. But right now, it's just a little sketchy.
Now, for the people who are watching, Josh, just break down what are they struggling with. For the people who don't know, like, explain what's the issue.
Okay, so as we all know, Disney Plus racked up around 50 million plus subscribers since launching. And unfortunately, HBO's subscription services have only increased by 5% across the board. So that includes HBO Go, HBO Max, HBO Now, and what Miguel is alluding to, similar to what JC said, is that there's brand confusion. So I'm like, what is the difference between HBO Go and HBO Max and HBO Now? Like that was the first thing they messed up. Instead, they should have had one just HBO platform, because you already have the brand reputation, and then you can have different tiers of membership levels within the actual platform, which would have made more sense. Like have a gold, platinum, silver tier type of membership. But they were doing too much.
And the other thing is, Tony, also they didn't come out on Roku or Amazon Prime, which are the biggest streaming platforms that people use.
Mm-hmm.
So you can only really stream it like on your phone, or like, you know, if you have like a smart TV type of deal, whatever. But that's also hurting them a lot, you know, because like me, I got Amazon Fire Stick. I got a Fire Stick, so I can't even get it. And I can only get it on my phone if I wanted to. Why would I do that? I want to watch it on my TV.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, that was gonna be my question. Where did everyone stream from? So you said Fire Stick and Miguel. What about everyone else?
I stream usually whenever I stream stuff. I stream from my PlayStation. Usually, PlayStation always have an app. Like when I had HBO Go, because that's how I did it. They had an HBO Go app on the PlayStation. So I'm shocked that they don't have that. I'm shocked they don't have HBO Max on the PlayStation.
What about you, Chloe? What do you stream from?
I used to use my computer and then hook it up to the HDMI or mirror it.
That's fair.
And I have a Fire Stick too, depending on what room I'm in.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people realize mirroring is the way to go, man. You just put something on your phone and then just mirror it to your TV. I do that a lot.
Yeah, I think for me, the past couple years with whole, streaming and casting, I've always used Chromecast. So I love Google for that purpose. Oh, yeah. I've always used that, or PlayStation, because there was a while where there was no Amazon Prime integration. So I had to use the Amazon Prime app on the PlayStation. But now that you can do it, I don't need to do that anymore, which is pretty cool.
Right.
And then to answer your other question, Tony, is also the content confusion. So some people, let's say some muggles like Miguel, might sign up for HBO Max, hypothetically, for Harry Potter, but Harry Potter's not even on the platform anymore because they sold it to the Peacock network.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, isn't it on something? Y'all sit in the chat? What are the movies?
The Peacock. It's on the Peacock network.
Oh, no. I'm talking about, you know what? It's at that drive-in theater that Chloe sent coming out, the Harry Potter.
Oh, yeah, it's this Thursday. It's going to be the first one, Miguel. So, food for thought.
Is that drive-in near you, Chloe?
It's in Homedale. So that's where like the PNC Art Center is.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Is it new or it's been there?
I think it's new because like the article that I found was from 2 days ago. So I think it's like one of those pop-up movie type concepts, and they're using the building. I forgot the name of the building, but it's like they have a whole thing. Like in the building itself, they have like escape room and a golfing thing, and they have like some type of food court. I haven't been there before, so I'm excited to go.
Well, it would have to be new because up until not that long ago, Del Cia Drive-In was the only drive-in theater in New Jersey. So yeah, definitely gotta be new.
Well, I don't know if it's a stagnant one. I think they're just using the space.
Gotcha. That's
like,
cool though.
Pop-up things. I know like last summer or 2 summers ago, they had like movies at the beach, which I want to look into this year. I didn't even Google it, but
yeah, I went to Atlantic City before, and on one of the walls they had a projection up, and it was playing like not a movie, but it was like the light show. It was like the bricks was falling, and it was really cool. It's like brought to you by Tropicana. It was cool.
Now that's something I wouldn't do right now. The escape room. You're gonna have me in a small room with people.
Thank you, Miguel. I thought I was the only one here.
No, and the escape room, you got to touch on stuff and figure out clues. Yeah.
All you have to do is wear gloves, and you're with who you came with.
Wow, that's the worst thing to do.
Have you done an escape room?
I did. My wife took me to one for my birthday a couple years ago.
Mike, have you done one?
I have not done one, to be honest.
Okay, so first of all, let me give you some context. You're with who you come with. So what happens is they disinfect the room. You go into the room. You can wear gloves because you are going to be touching things. And then you're just in there with your group. So if you go with 2 people, it's just you and the other person.
No. No, so typically what happens is if you go and it's just you two, you wait a little bit and then they put other people in your group. So
they don't put people in my group.
Yeah, when I went, like it wasn't just us. Like they don't just like unless they got nobody else coming. But if it's a bunch of people that came at the same time, they put you with people. They don't just put you by yourself.
I've never done that. Every time I go to escape room, it's just me and my friends.
That would make it's so much stuff you got to figure out. Oh, yeah, you and your friends. So if it's like 5 of y'all, cool. But if it's just 2 of you,
I've just gone with me and one other person, and it was like.
Well, being the one who actually went to the International Spy Museum and went to that escape room, usually you go with groups of 10 plus.
10 people.
And
it's every half an hour. So that's what I keep saying, the foot traffic.
Because there's time frames. Like when we went, you don't just walk in and show up. You had to have a time. And when the time, so when you had an appointment, like when we showed up, we still had to wait for the other people that was in that same time slot. Like it wasn't just, let's just go to the escape room. We show up and just they let you in.
I go to escape room often because I'm a geek. I'm a nerd, and I like to do puzzles and stuff. And like every time I've gone at least 10 times, and each time I've gone, we have our private room. There's no other people.
Be going to a one that's not real popular.
I know, right? There's like nobody there.
A bunch of them. I've gone to the one at Menlo Park Mall. I'm going to the one in two of them in New Brunswick. I went to one in New York City. I went to one in Greenbrook. I went to one in Bridgewater. Like I've gone a lot of places, and I've never experienced.
And the best one by far is the International Spy Museum in Washington, D.C., which has a James Bond exhibit, which is amazing, by the way. Well, and the way that is structured, you have it's the foot traffic. So you have different groups going on at different times. So you can have 10 groups of 20 all going on at the same time, and you just go into each room, into each room, into each room.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's not like that. Escape room. The one that I went to, it was pretty cool. So like you think it's one room, and then you hit a trap door, and it opens up into like a whole nother room.
Yeah, same thing with me.
Like huge.
I'm gonna say this, Chloe. The whole concept of all the different traps and things you got to touch, like Tony said, I don't feel like they can sanitize every single thing.
And then explain to her the whole concept of wearing gloves. Forget that, but wearing gloves is the no. We all know. Yeah, wearing gloves because when you wear gloves, you constantly transferring those germs. So you just touch this, then you just touch that, then you touch that. Like it's constantly going. It's better to touch something, Purell your hands off, touch something else, and keep doing it. But if you consistently wear the gloves the whole time, like, then you just, you touch every single thing. Then you could have, like, maybe this part somebody didn't cough on, but maybe up here they did. Well, you just wore your gloves through the whole thing, and then you touch everything after that.
Yeah, I just think that I would rather go to it's funny you'd rather go there than to a movie theater. I will say that.
Yeah, that is crazy. That blows my mind right there. Yeah.
How is that crazy? You're wearing gloves to protect yourself. So if everyone wears gloves, no one's gonna get sick. Duh.
Okay. I don't know. When I think about the amount of foot traffic and the size of the rooms, all I think is this.
What do you mean foot traffic? It's just you in the room.
It's never just you, is it? Like that's crazy.
Okay, on average, how many people are going through that per day, even during the pandemic?
The thing is, it depends. There's like at one escape room, there's literally like 20 different rooms. So like when I went on the website, they were saying that between each session, instead of stacking them back to back like they used to do, they have a sanitation period in between sessions. So like,
so which is going to be easier to clean, that or the movie theater?
Well, the movie theater, but you're sitting in the movie theater with other people. So my concern of the movie theater is that I'm sitting there with Joe Schmo, who just came from a party, and he was, drinking and passing stuff, and then he coughs on me.
Right, but Joe Schmo was in the escape room before you walked in there, even if it was just you and your friend.
They sanitized the whole room with the spray, and then I went in. Now I'm sitting there with Joe, and he coughing on me.
So you already went.
But Joe's probably going to be 6 feet away from you. You realize that, right?
And he's gonna cough, and his germs are gonna float 6 feet towards me. That's
His germs got homing a device that's just going straight to her.
they actually just linger in the air, and you breathe them in.
They're not lingering in the air in the escape room.
And by the way, the escape room is a lot smaller space volume-wise than the theater. So it's more likely to be in the atmosphere. The mist of the pandemic just greets you in the face.
Well, you guys know they have the sanitation where they spray the film, and then it like disinfects everything. I'm gonna show you in the group chat. Y'all think I'm
okay? All right, move forward, Josh.
All right, so going to, I guess since we're still somewhat in the Warner's DC verse, let's talk about the Snyder Cut. Did everyone see that clip of Superman in the black suit?
I did not.
No.
All right.
Assuming you're Alfred.
I'm looking over there.
I'm assuming you're Alfred.
I mean, that would have been a dope scene for the movie. I can't lie.
So apparently that's specifically from the Snyder Cut, and apparently Snyder wanted Superman to have the black suit throughout the entire film, but that's also one of the creative differences he had with the studio. So the studio is like, nah, we're not doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I can see it on a lot of things. Like, so here's the thing. People ruin it for everybody because it's as cool as we could say the black suit. There's gonna be some people like, and they had Superman in a black suit. That made no sense. I could just see it.
Well, to be fair, they didn't. I feel like there's some people on the panel here who absolutely loved Zack Snyder's Man of Steel.
Me.
So apparently there was much more character development for Superman specifically in the direction Zack Snyder wanted to go in. So I think those who love Superman even more would absolutely be thrilled by Zack Snyder's vision of the film.
Right. I'm happy that I didn't have high expectations, so I enjoyed the movie. But just as much as I enjoyed it, I'm very eagerly looking to see the next the Snyder Cut also. So
yeah, I mean, not even a suit. That whole scene wasn't in the movie when he went to see Alfred. So I would love to see that scene. Right. Why not? I think that'll be dope. So
absolutely, and apparently it was Zack Snyder's goal to put Superman on the top of the DC superhero pyramid. So power-wise, obviously he should be there by default. But I think we all know that Batman is kind of undisputed in that position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just think that I don't know how they're gonna do it. It'll definitely help HBO Max, of course. I don't know if they're gonna do it as like a mini series or a movie, but either way, I think it'll be a better version. I was reading that like this movie was supposed to be more like the end of the trilogy for the Superman, because it was like Man of Steel and then Batman versus Superman and then this. It should have been just Superman having his own movies, but if it was supposed to be that way, I want to see what it's supposed to be. So.
Absolutely. And apparently there was supposed to be Green Lantern in the film, because the Green Lantern was actually cast, but they just never used him in the film. So to me, it would have been great to see Zack Snyder kind of, revitalize that brand, because there's been so much rumors about possibly Idris playing that role or Tyrese or whoever. So it'd be interesting to see what he'd be able to do with the Green Lantern, because the whole plan was to open up the let's say the universe aspect, the galaxy, interstellar warfare, similar to the MCU, right? So they were on par with that. It's just they had creative differences, and Zack Snyder was replaced by Joss Whedon.
Well, maybe the climate of the world right now would be kind of cool to have a prominent black superhero. Like I think The Rock is a DC prominent black superhero. I think The Rock's gonna do a good job, but the only problem with The Rock is the Black Adam isn't that well known of a character. Right. However, the Green Lantern is. So that would be pretty cool.
And by the way, did everyone see the Green Lantern film?
I just watched it again recently. I told Tony last week. I watched it last night, and you know what's crazy? I thought it sucked, and I was on board with that it would suck when I watched it. But when I watched it last week, it wasn't as bad as I initially thought it was. It wasn't good, but it wasn't as bad as I initially, said.
But that's kind of with everything. You usually the second go around, the shock value of what you didn't like is no longer the shock value. So you're like, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah. And I told Tony, I was like, I forgot Angela Bassett was even in this movie.
Yeah, I did too. I was like, oh wow.
Yeah. And Josh, guess who played his best friend in the movie? The Green Lantern.
I mean, I saw it. Forget.
Or you would never guess. Taika Waititi played his best friend in the movie. Yeah, actually. So, and it's crazy because I forget that he was acting a lot before he started, directing and stuff like that. But he played the best friend in the movie. So.
Kind of like Jon Favreau.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's very interesting. And now we can move along to a great topic for Tony, which is the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, buddy.
So apparently, when Sony first started production, they were only planning for around 5 million to 6 million consoles. But since due to the pandemic and the popularity of video gaming and gaming in general has increased dramatically, obviously, now they're slated for 10 million consoles.
Yeah, they increased their production by 50%, which is cool because we talked about this on the Mighty Jade Empire podcast, guys. So you can check that out as well on the Now Your Mama Knows YouTube channel. But yeah, I mean that's pretty cool. It was real sketchy for a while that people were just thinking, man, you better rush out, do whatever you can to try to get a PlayStation 5 because it's going to be very scarce. But now it's looking like you're going to have a better chance at getting one as well.
Absolutely.
So that's pretty big news.
They're definitely betting big on the PS5. But at the same time, to your point, in your previous point, Tony, there's a massive opportunity for the gaming industry because the business model is pandemic proof. And we know they have a higher budget than most movie studios. So they're making that money back. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. But now their only issue is, which is a good thing for GameStop. So GameStop has been going downhill with the introduction of digital. So many gamers have went over to buying their games digitally. But what GameStop have, the whole people is most people still get a console is physical. So you still, unless you're into the cloud. So most people have to still go out and get it, and a lot of people you think, oh, GameStop, even though you could order it from Amazon or you could get your consoles from Walmart, but that's keeping GameStop afloat. So but yeah, it's awesome news to hear about the PlayStation production going up. That's a big deal in gaming. You think when new systems come out, there's always people that say I'm going to wait for the next couple batches because they figure there's going to be issues. But there's people like me that want to get it day one, So, that's a big deal. If I can,
when does it
go ahead.
When does it come out?
They didn't put a date yet, but it is going to be holiday season of 2020. So we'll be out this year, but they're playing hardball right now with Xbox. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but no one knows the price of these two new systems because Sony said on record that they won't price it until Xbox price it first. So the problem is Microsoft has the money to drop their price. So they're playing the craziest game of chicken. You figure it's about to be August. These things are coming out. Maybe a PlayStation is known to come out in November. So maybe November, December, but no one knows the price yet. And there's going to be two versions of the PlayStation. So there's going to be, again, this is how powerful digital is. On day one, there's going to be a digital version, has no disk drive or anything. But then there's going to be a version that has a disk drive on it. So they're going to look just like what Josh showed. But when you stand them up, one's going to have a piece that comes out a little bit, which is their disk drive. And what's going to be cool is the PlayStation that's out now, even the PlayStation 4 Pro, there's no 4K Blu-ray player in a PlayStation. So that's another big deal to get a PlayStation PlayStation 5 with the disc drive, because it will, for the first time for Sony, will actually have a 4K Blu-ray player, because the other one isn't actually 4K.
Don't they usually have the Black Friday pricing anywhere?
No, not on a new system. So for a new system, you're not gonna be able to get a deal on a system. Like yeah, because first of all, they don't. So Sony, when they come out with these systems, they usually take a loss on the system or make like $20 on the systems. Their thing is they want you to have their system in your home so they can make money off of like a Uncharted, Last of Us, God of War, their exclusive titles. That's where they make their money from. So they don't want to let you save money because they're not even really making money. But Josh, if you don't mind, something that just came up recently in gaming, because I'm a fan of gaming and I'm primarily a PlayStation guy, but I have to give credit, and I would love to throw it in there now. Microsoft just did their Microsoft Xbox reveal. I just finished watching it this morning.
How was that?
So they got a lot of flack because what they showed, everything wasn't high quality, but they said some stuff is still in development, and they didn't stream it at 1080p. There's actually a 1080p 60 version now you can watch. I watched this morning, but I gotta give credit, man. They have what's considered the Netflix of video games, which is called Microsoft Game Pass, and you pay $15.99 a month, and you get over 100 games, and on top of that, so imagine if Sony did this, right? Again, Microsoft has the money, but their Xbox exclusive games is included, and you get those games like 5 days earlier. So when Gears of War 5 came out back in November, October, if you paid $14.99 a month, that was included. Like imagine getting The Last of Us or God of War or Uncharted, not paying the price of it, but in a subscription like Netflix. So, Mike and I were going to review Fatal Affair, right? So instead of us having to actually rent that movie, we just went on Netflix and it's included. So Microsoft just announced, all right, that their cloud streaming service is built into that $14.99 price. So you got Xbox Gold, which is like the PlayStation thing where you get a couple games for free every month. You got Microsoft Game Pass, which is their Netflix for gaming, where you could choose and pick whatever game you want to play. And you got their cloud thing where you could just play it on your phone or a computer wherever you go. And that's all for $14.99 a month. It's crazy. In gaming, that's crazy. Now, I don't think they're going to take over Sony because it's a popularity contest, and the PlayStation 4 outsold the Xbox One by it's just the numbers is crazy. So I think it's popularity. If you was a PlayStation guy, naturally, you're probably going to be a PlayStation guy again. But for me, somebody who's up in the air now, man, $14.99 a month sounds really cool to be able to get.
Whoa, up in the air? What do you mean?
Well, I'm up in the clouds. My bad.
Because I was about to say, this looks like it's impeding upon Google Stadia's.
It is, but here's the thing.
Wait. Before you keep going, I just want to say goodbye to the audience. I actually got to go take care of some things and whatnot. Okay. But want the kids out. All right. I'll be doing my show tonight. See you, Chloé. Have a good week yourself. I'll talk to you later, Tony and Josh.
All right, guys.
Later.
Bye, guys.
But I'm gonna wrap up this part. But so it is definitely getting in the space. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna be able to have more games than Google Stadia. Even the beta right now has like over 100 games for their cloud service that you can play right now for free. But again, it's a beta. So even when it becomes added in the $14.99 price, that's definitely going to be better than Stadia price-wise. But Stadia has been building their infrastructure longer and spent more money. So if you play, like right now, if I go on the app on my phone, I could play a game on Project X Cloud. But it's going to take a while to load, and it's only in 720p. Stadia, you could play in 4K, and it's smooth and lagless. So they put more money, and they've been working on their cloud thing longer than Microsoft. But Microsoft said 1080 is coming. But if you play it, it's a difference. Now, yeah, you get more games, but the quality, you can't compare it to Stadia. So I don't know. It's a toss-up, man.
That's very interesting because we see these corporate rivalries continuing to the gaming sphere, which is interesting. So Microsoft versus Google again, Bing versus Google search.
And it's crazy, but why hasn't Sony jumped into this? Like their PlayStation Now is which been out before Stadia and xCloud and all that. So PlayStation Now is their streaming service, but it started when PlayStation 4 came out and it wasn't backwards compatible. So it was your answer. You paid a subscription and then you were able to stream the old games, but the streaming service was terrible and you could only stream it on a PlayStation 4 or a PC, but it was really bad. So it's getting better and they're adding new games, but it's just not and they made it $9.99 a month. So you could have over 800 something games available, but they're all older games. And again, the streaming platform isn't as good. So then we got two things going on. It's like, how many games can you get with these cloud services, but what's the quality? And that's what Google has. Google has the quality, but they don't have the games. But here's the big thing. Google are getting brand new games that come out. xCloud isn't going to get brand new games. They're going to let you play games on the Game Pass, which is typically like kind of older games or lower budget games, but you got a lot more. But so that's the thing. So it's hard, man. You got to figure out your budget, where you would be in. Last thing I'll say is Stadia. You could play it on anything. You can play it on a phone, a laptop, tablet, computer, your TV. Like you mentioned, you Google Chrome. Well, if you got a Chromecast Ultra, stream it on your TV with a controller. Like, so that's why I like Stadia more, because I feel like I could play it on more things. Like I said, I'm sitting at the lake by the pool playing it on my phone with a PlayStation controller. They don't stop you. You can play if you played on your computer with a mouse and keyboard, instantly it turns into like a computer game. You're using your mouse and keyboard, and some people like that. Whereas Project xCloud or PlayStation Now, it's only making you be in that ecosystem of like Sony or Microsoft. So, anyway.
And then to our final topic, which is the animation sequel to The Rise of Skywalker, which will allegedly have Adam Driver reprising his role as Ben Solo alongside Hayden Christensen. Obviously, it is a cartoon, it's an animated series,
right? But
they will both be on the same, let's say, in the same scenes together. So you'll have a lot of interaction between Darth Vader and Kylo Ren.
Wow! So it will be their voices.
It will, official voices.
Wow.
That's the guy from the show Girls. You ever seen the show Girls? The acting dude?
Which, the guy on the right?
Yeah.
The one on HBO?
Yeah, that's my show.
The one's demographic that I'm not in? Nah, I haven't seen it.
No.
I've heard about it though.
He's in it, and I think he produced one of the episodes.
Hayden Christensen, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Because I used to watch the actor, like, when they talk about the episodes after, and him and the chick that plays Hannah, I think they co-produced one of the episodes.
Oh, wow. Let me just make sure I'm clear. The guy on the right or the guy on the left?
The one, the paler skinned one.
Okay.
Wait, not Adam Driver.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
I didn't know that.
If I'm not mistaken, he looks like him. And I think his name is Adam.
So, Josh, will you watch it?
This animated series? Absolutely.
Cool.
The girl show? Absolutely not.
Yeah, I was talking about the animated series.
Demographic just a little bit. I'm just saying.
You know what?
My demographic either, but it was.
It definitely. I've seen clips. It's definitely your demographic.
I'll watch a trailer for it just to see what it is. But it's called The Girl Show.
No, it's just Girls.
Oh, Girls. All right, with an S.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Josh, can I throw this in there a little bit? You mentioned this animated series, but you just showed in the chat that Star Trek is also getting an animated series. Cartoon.
Oh, thank you, Tony. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's interesting, and I feel like it's about time. I feel like in the chat, you guys are saying Star Trek definitely has more content, but I feel like I almost want to say Star Wars have more content, but I get it. Star Trek has so many series, but I feel like Star Trek is so everywhere. It's definitely well more recognized. So I feel like Star Trek should have had a cartoon.
Yeah, I'm surprised it didn't as well. But I guess you'll see a combination of characters like Picard and Kirk all on the same ship together.
Right. That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. So we'll see. Hopefully they do it correctly. I didn't hear good things about Star Trek Discovery yet, which is why I didn't give it a chance properly yet. So we'll see. Maybe when I have more time. I actually like the Orville a lot better than.
Oh wow!
Probably I like Discovery.
Yeah, I was interested in Discovery, but again, it didn't make me want to jump out my seat. I haven't been into Star Trek in a while. I watched Enterprise, like I watched, back in the day. But what was the other one?
Deep Space Nine?
No, I didn't watch Deep Space Nine, but was Enterprise the one with Picard or no?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I thought it was one other one.
Oh, actually, wait, that's New Generation. So I think that's the one. Picard.
Oh, Next Generations. Yeah,
Next Generation.
So so, but yeah, Discovery didn't make me say, "Oh, I gotta watch this," And I don't think I watched a cartoon, but I think I watched the Star Wars cartoon.
Yeah, I mean, my mom's a massive Trekkie, so I've always been on the other side of the fence because I'm a Star Wars fan. But at the same time, I have great respect for Star Trek. Gene Roddenberry paved the way for everything, as George Lucas said. So I respect what they did for the sci-fi world because we wouldn't have a lot of these IPs without Star Trek.
Good point.
Did you say Star Trek or Star Trek? I used to be a huge Pharrell fan.
There you go.
NERD. But yeah, I like Star Trek. I never really watched it though. I always watched Star Wars.
Did you see the movies? Because the movies are stuff you could watch without even having to. The newer movies, like you could watch that and not be a fan, and just they did a good job at that.
With Zoe Saldana, you should definitely do a watch along for that one time. That would be great.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to tell my wife that. I was like, you could easily watch the Star Trek movies and not know anything, and they'll introduce you.
Did see it? I can't remember. I need to watch it again. Because Star Trek had black actors in it, right? The original one?
Yeah, Lieutenant O'Hara, which is Zoe Saldana's role in the new one.
Oh.
And then back in the day, Geordie LaForge.
That's right, Geordie. Yeah. That's right.
The visor.
But yeah, O'Hara is a very popular, let's say, Halloween costume.
Yeah.
Very interesting stuff. But yes, guys, thank you once again for joining us here, Little Ant and Chloé Diz, and hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day.
You too.
You too.
Absolutely. And Avengers out.